What is Forrest Gump's computer password? One Forrest one. Well, hey again, it's been about 2 weeks since I last drew anything on here, so I thought I would draw something from my childhood, which is a character from the movie Legend. Oh, you know this movie, Tim Curry with the big horns and the superhero body. Uh, all the goblins and fairies and all that. It was just a great movie. I really hate it when people down on it. But today I'm going to draw Darkness's kind of general, the goblin. I think its name was Blitz or Blix or something like that, played by Alex Playton, and just a fantastic makeup by Rob Bottin. So, but instead of doing a tutorial telling you how I'm drawing, I'm going to draw this and I'm going to explain how when I was a young man, and well, not so young, I was in it for 27 years, I was a special effects makeup artist. And I'm going to tell you a story about something that went very wrong when when I had a job applying makeup. So anyway, here we go. Let's do it. Well, okay. Before I tell the story, I'm gonna admit that I'd already drawn Blix from Legend last year, but then about 2 days later, I fell and broke my hip. Now, I know that makes me sound 90, and I'm not. I was only 47 when it happened. It was very embarrassing. I had my 30th class reunion this year, and I can't seem to find anybody in my class who did something as stupid as falling and breaking a hip so young. So, anyway, let's get on with it. Of course, I'm going to say one more time this is from a movie called Legend. Tim Curry is just phenomenal. Uh, this character is a goblin named Blix, and I accidentally in the intro said that Blix was played by Alex Playton. No, he was played by Alice Playton, a female. She also voiced the Gump, the little fairy, leader of the fairies, because he's very Teutonic. But anyway, okay. So I was a special effects makeup artist for 27 years. When I was in school, my theater mentor, Dr. Springman, insisted that I learn how to do all kinds of makeup, whether it be beauty, corrective, uh, but especially special effects, which is just what I love. So my makeup partner, Jess, and I, we just did, I'm talking makeup after makeup on all the kids in our street. We weren't allowed in anybody else's home. They'd go home, they'd have burns, they'd have scrapes, their eyes would be hanging out, and their parents would scream and they'd say, "Ha ha, it's just makeup." And then they'd say, "You're never going to hang out with those two boys again." What can I say? I think that is a common thing to happen to makeup artists. Anyway, so I got to know Dr. Springman and I kind of became his pet. You know, we just became as thick as thieves. So one day he comes up to me at the end of the day and he says, "Now, Gabe, tomorrow we're going to have some special visitors from Australia. They want to see how Americans uh, go about their school business. I want you to bring in a special effects makeup and do it in front of the class and these gentlemen because it will give us kind of a heads up. It'll give us kind of a bonus point." Well, I was excited. So I have two best friends, Jess and Gary. I went to Gary and I said, "Look, I'm going to go get two razor blades. You remember those razor blades that came in a little cardboard box?" And they went into a non-disposable razor blade. So I went and got a box of two and I brought them to his parents' house. And I said, "You have a lathe. I want you to take this one razor blade and file it down so that you can just rub it on the skin and nothing will happen. And we're just going to freak out everybody tomorrow. He said, great. He sat there, he laid it down. And I mean, now I will admit, I did say, now I'm not trying that first. You do it first. He said, fine. So he ran it up and down his arm and his wrist, and then I took it. And I mean, there was no way you could hurt yourself with this. Okay, I thought this was going to be great. So here's what I did the next morning. I got up, got the two razor blades. Couldn't do that now in school, too, could you? We had one of those large blue ear syringes with the big bulb on it, and you just squeeze it. So I made up some fake blood and I put it into the syringe. Well, the syringe tapers, so I could hold the fake razor blade, put the tapered end of the syringe behind it where no one would see me holding it, and I would palm the bulb. Now, this is not my idea. The great makeup artist Tom Savini, I learned from him. So it's getting to be second period. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Everybody's going to scream and yell. It's just going to be great. Second period comes. I'm getting everything ready. Dr. Springman is out in the auditorium talking to these four just power suited, huge Australian school officials, and he's like, you're going to see this and you're going to see that. We've even got a treat for you. So I'm getting everything ready. I haven't told anybody in the class what I'm going to do. I can't even remember if I told Jess. Well, surely I told Jess. And Gary wasn't in that class. So I was working on getting this ready, and a lot of the classmates looked over and said, what in the world are you doing? And I said, look, we've got some important people here, and Dr. Springman wanted me to do an effect. I'm going to do it for you guys, and you tell me what you think. Okay? Oh, great, because they loved it when I brought gross stuff. So I palmed the ear syringe, held the razor blade to where they couldn't see the tapered end where the blood was going to come out, rolled up my sleeve, and I said, all right, guys and gals, now is the moment of truth. Rolled up my sleeve, put the razor blade on my skin, and as I ran it up from wrist to elbow, I squeezed the bulb and blood just came gushing out as if I had cut my wrists. The entire class backed up, I know, 10 feet and screamed. Now, that wouldn't have been so bad. I would have enjoyed that, to be honest with you. But at the very moment that I squeezed that bulb and the blood came out was the very moment that Dr. Springman brought the four power-suited, enormous Australian school administrators into the classroom to see me slice my wrist. Now, Dr. Springman, he's my mentor. He was my mentor, sadly, passed 12 years ago. So there was no way he was going to get on to me. I could have done anything. And the man, I was just his pet and I loved it. But I could tell by his reaction that he didn't know whether to laugh or just beat me upside the head. The Australian's eyes were the size of dinner plates, blood everywhere, people screaming. And of course, I knew if I laughed, I probably would get in trouble, as would have Jess. And I explained, no, 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 look, 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 here, see, this is how you do it, and blah, blah, blah. They left. God only knows what those Australians told their administrators when they went back to Australia. Dr. Springman just shook his head and said, "Wipe the blood off the floor," with a giggle in his tone. So we did. Never got in trouble. The only thing the man said was, "Gabe, when I said do something makeup wise, I meant apply a fake nose, uh, do some kind of, anything that is innocent. A Cyrano de Bergerac nose, a big chin, turn somebody into the Wicked Witch. You know, why?" And I said, "This is a makeup effect, Doc. This is you know my forte. I just loved doing the gory stuff." He said, "Oh, well, I only I blame myself," he said. I just did not make myself clear. Now, when I finally found Gary in the hall, I said, "Oh, you should have been there." And I said, "I've got a few ideas of how we can use this fake, well, not fake, but this dull razor blade. Come over to the house later tonight." He did. And we were mixing up some things. We had first of all, we had a coffee cup of water so that we could clean our brushes of the liquid latex that we were using. And Gary had a cup uh, of either coffee or soda. I don't remember which. And I just remember saying, "Gary, this is going to end badly. You're going to drink from the one, the wrong one." He said, "Oh, leave me alone. I know what I'm doing." First thing that happened, picks up the latex, drinks it, spits it all over my room. And that stuff, once it dries, it just doesn't come out. I was like, "You absolute moron." But he's still my best friend. Justin and Gary are still my best friends, live just right down the road. So we're working with these two razor blades. Okay. I'm going to do something even worse. So I'm sitting there painting something. I can't remember what. I think it was an appliance that I would be able to make bleed. And like an idiot, I said, "Hey, Gary, hand me the razor blade. I want to show you something." So he gives me the razor blade. I stick out my tongue and I go whap right down my tongue with the razor blade. And immediately I go, "What the hell was that?" Yes, he had given me the real razor blade. And I had sliced the middle of my tongue all the way back down to the front. Now, if you're puckering up right now, you should be. I cannot describe to you the pain, the pain of slicing your tongue open with a razor blade. Now, Gary thought this was hilarious. He was laughing at me because I laughed at him for drinking the liquid latex. It took 2 weeks for it to heal and for me to be able to eat solid food. Okay? Sliced it right down. But you have to understand, that's Gary, my best friend. Love the man. He's just a tad bit clumsy. You know, I learned a long time ago, never say to Gary, "Here, hold this," because that's as fast as he would drop it. Didn't mean to, just that's how it was. So that was the story of me almost probably getting kicked out of school. Can you imagine taking a razor blade to school now and pretending that you are slicing your wrists? Holy cow. First of all, just the nurse would just faint. The SROs would put you in cuffs. Oh, but it was fun. We did all kinds of stuff in that class. We gave each other like a third eye in the middle of the forehead. it was just great. Dr. Springman let us do anything. We had the run of the auditorium. I can't remember if I've done too many other mistakes. I will admit I have taken a few live casts of actors in theater, adults. Holy cow! I did not realize that these adults that I knew would become such wusses once I put the alginate on their face, which is how you take a live cast. You put this stuff called alginate. It's the stuff the dentists use to take impressions of your teeth. The problem is you have to put it all over the face. The only thing that is not covered are your nostrils. Imagine that. And it takes 7 minutes to dry. And that's not the end of it. Then you have to take a plaster bandage, wet it, and make kind of a matrix mold so that the alginate will hold its shape because alginate doesn't harden, it just kind of congeals. Well, it takes 20 minutes for the bandage. So that's 30 minutes in the dark, can't hear, and you can only breathe through your nose. One guy, we were doing Arsenic and Olace. I was going to do the brother Jonathan, who looks like who was the black and white actor, Boris Karloff. I said, okay, let's do this. It won't take long. The man literally freaked out. Somebody had to hold his hand. Grown man had to hold his hand. A dear friend of mine, Vicky, she played the witch in Into the Woods. So she called me and she said, we need to do this quick change from where I become a hag into a beautiful woman in like 5 seconds. And that's the truth. I said, well, on Broadway, they used a double. She said, no, not using a double. I want to be. I'm like, you don't want to use a double? How the, you know what am I supposed to? So I called Jess. He said, man, tell him yes, we can do it. I said, we can't do it. He said, trust me, we can do it. So I told him that. And Jess actually came up with a way of doing it that I see professional Broadway and off-Broadway productions doing it now. Instead of gluing an entire old age face onto Vicky, we took a cast of her face and she didn't wig out, but man, she said the face isn't moving, it's not breathing, the eyes are closed. She said, this is what I'm going to look like when I'm dead. And I'm like, well, they do dead faces too like this, you know. This is just called a live cast. Let me get a drink real quick. So I sculpted it, molded it, one piece. And the only piece that I did not mold was around the mouth. Gave it to Jess, and sure as the world, he went out and bought a bra strap, sewed it into the mask, and put the connectors in the back. He said, all you do is you have her put her beauty makeup on first and powder the hell out of it. I mean, just powder it so that no sweat. And then you put this mask on and clip it in the back and put the wig on. And I said, it's never going to work this way. And by golly, you want to know something? It absolutely worked. Jess himself played an ogre, and we did the exact same thing for him. Now, this is not a very interesting story, I know, until I get to this part. I was reading a Broadway Facebook post, and they were doing Into the Woods, and it was the exact way that Jess did it. And I thought, that's SOB. Because, see, I'm okay at sculpting, designing, coloring makeup. But now, when it comes to mechanics, when it comes to Jess is the boss. He is the boss. All right. So, anyway, that's probably all I've got. he did upstage me one time. We were doing Stingiest Man in Town, which is a musical about Scrooge. I was Ghost of Christmas Present. He was Ghost of Christmas Future. He didn't tell anybody how he was going to do his costume. Opening night comes. First of all, it looked like he was on stilts. It looked like he was 9 feet tall. Had this huge black robe on. And then he had put red Christmas lights inside the hood so that he could look like his eyes were glowing red and he could make them blink. Now, that would have been cool enough. You know, I mean, that's cool. I'm not going to lie. But he also used an articulated skeletal hand. You know how when Scrooge says, "Oh, who was that pitiful man that we saw lying dead?" And the ghost points with one finger. He could control every finger of this hand. So when he would point, it was terrifying. And when the show was over, everybody, we always do a meet and greet. Everybody just passed us by and went straight to Jess. It was like, oh my gosh. And the school productions, those kids went berserk. They went berserk, which he deserved it. It was genius. It was genius. But anyway, so here we are. That's my story uh, of 27 years of makeup. It was fun. We did haunted houses. We'd have 5, 6, 700 people show up, and this is in a town of 26,000, which that's a lot of people. We would do one time we did a SWAT team. Uh, what did they do? A training, and we made all these bodies and eyes hanging out and all that. And they never called us back because it was too gross. And as a matter of fact, we have anatomically correct books, forensic books. Oh, stay away from those. Good Lord. It is gross. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm just not gonna lie about it. But it's always been fun. Makeup is, makeup is fun. What can I tell you? We made up a friend of ours as an ogre, a one-eyed ogre. And he goes, "Oh no, I forgot to take my rented VHS tape back to the." And so I said, "Let's just go get it." We go and get it. He'd been in makeup for 8 hours. He got the thing, the, and he just walks it in. He's in costume and everything. He's about 6'7", and the whole place just stops. It's almost like they were like, we about to get eaten, by this troll. And what was so funny is the local news journalist was there, and he said, "Man, we've got to get you on the news." And yeah, it was just fun. We made 100 home movies, 100 home movies. They were silly, but we always used makeup. We did some Batman movies, and of course, I'm a Dick Tracy fan, so we made like 7 Dick Tracy. That's what got me into makeup, actually. Warren Beatty's 1990 Dick Tracy movie. Oh my gosh. I had a magazine that showed how they did the prosthetics. I went insane. Uh, there was, I was going to go to the Joe Blasco School in Florida when I graduated high school. I had been accepted, sent my portfolio, and had even spoken to the dean. He was like, "You've got to come here. You've got to come here." And in 11th grade, all my school friends know this. In 11th grade, I got woefully sick, had to have 2 surgeries that nearly killed me. When I went in the first time, the surgeon was like, "Young man, if you had waited 3 days, you would have dropped dead in math class." I'm like, "Thank you for letting me know that." And so it took 7 years to get over it. And so I just never went to the school, but I taught myself. I taught myself. It was fun. Sometimes we do things and hurt people. We took a live cast once and we couldn't get it off our friend's face. Just couldn't. I mean, we had to hammer and chisel it, then take him to the ER. That's not funny because it really hurt him. But, we were just kids. So, anyway, look, CGI is slowly just becoming meh, just meh. And practical makeup effects are coming back. So if this is something that interests you, heck, look it up, get a book, uh, text me. I can, it's the funniest thing. I can also do beauty makeup because Dr. Springman said, look, you got to learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk. Every June, every June, I have a young lady, mostly people I knew as kids in the theater, saying, Gabe, I'm getting married in the morning and I have this monster pimple or zit on my, what am I going to do? And I'm like, just chill out. Go to a makeup store, go to Walmart, I don't care, and get some green makeup. And they're like, green? Yes. Green will neutralize red. You put it just on the spot that's red, powder the hell out of it, and then put your regular makeup on, and it will go away. And sure as the world, I will typically either get at least a call or a very, very nice email or letter saying, you saved the marriage. So, hey guys, if you're going to get married and you get a pimple, get green makeup, coverall makeup. Now don't make it like, you don't want it to be avocado, you want it to be a lighter green. Uh, Powder it and then just put your normal foundation on top of it. It's that simple. I'm not gonna lie, I've done it. I'm married with a kid and I've done it because I've gotten pimples you know, right before a thing. So anyway, I think I'm going to let that be it. It looks like Blix is just about done. I'm doing the background there. Uh, I thought he turned out rather well. If you've never seen Legend, go look at it. I mean, when you've got Tim Curry playing a 13-foot, they call him the devil. He's not the devil, guys. He's just the Lord of Dark, okay? Go watch it. It's fantastic. The director's cut is fantastic. Um, I've watched it all my life, just the theatrical cut, and I loved it. I loved it. But when I got the director's cut, it has 30 minutes restored. Holy cow! It changed it so much for the better. But there's only like two people that don't have this huge amount of makeup on, and it's worth the watch. It's worth the watch. Tom Cruise, Mia Sara, uh, Tim Curry. How can you go wrong? Really? I mean, how can you go wrong? So anyway, we are, my friends and I, we own a filming studio. Next year, we are making a movie. I'm not going to tell you what it is now. It is a remake, and it is a rock music adaptation. I co-wrote it 20 years ago with two friends of mine, Bobby and Big O, and it played 7 years and always sold out. It's about zombies, so be looking for that next year. Trust me, you're going to love it. You are going to love it. So, where do we leave it here? Where do we leave it here? It's hot. I'm not gonna lie. Did you know last week it got up to 115 degrees in this town? I'm kind of in the mid south of America, if you couldn't tell by my accent. 115 degrees. Uh, I, 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 I'm trying to think of something humorous to say, and I can't. Stay cool. This world is going crazy, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much. If you're still listening, I know I've rambled, but thanks a lot. Thanks for listening. Uh, I have a much longer video. I won't bore you with that one, but I had a client ask me to draw the new Nosferatu, but she also wanted a graffiti element to it. And so before I gave it to her, I scanned it. And I can't wait to show you guys this. I think it's the best thing I've ever done. This is very cartoony what you're saying. Nosferatu, not so much. Not so much. I took some liberties with him, but not many. And besides all that, could somebody please explain to me? Well, they filmed a whole movie that is so dark you can't see it. I mean, I've watched a few clips to get, ideas for the drawing, but come on, you can't see anything. It's ridiculous. I mean, anyway, Harry Potter was the same way. I just threw him away. I couldn't see him. It was so dark. So anyway, let's see here. Uh, said everything I said about makeup. Said everything I can about messing up. And oh, here I go. I'm going to remove. We're almost done here. I'm going to remove the tape so that you can. I always like to leave a little mat around my pictures here. And I believe this is a Paul Rubens watercolor block. Anyway, use whatever you like. Use whatever you like. It's that's your little red wagon. But I like to use blocks. They're the ones that the paper, all 20 sheets are glued together. Because what happens when you put water on paper? It destroys it. If you use a watercolor block, doesn't happen. Keeps it nice and flat. Keeps it nice and flat. Let's see. Oh, I guess I should tell you that I've written books. G. Allen Cook is my pseudonym. So if you want to go out there and locate those, I will warn you, the first couple of anthologies are they're for adults, not adult, but you know what I mean. I wouldn't want my 13-year-old reading them. And someday I'll tell you how I finally got published. Believe this or not, after 20 years of sending things in and getting them rejected, a publisher contacted me if I had anything to give. I'll tell you that story sometime. It's just, well, I guess I can tell you now, but yeah, I was sick, had the flu. My wife gave me a Kindle. I said, uh, oh, there he is. There's Blix. Just get me something with a lot of anthologies in it. Needless to say, they were great. I contacted the editor. We talked for like 3 hours. Before we stopped talking, he said, you sound like a writer. Do you have anything that you'd like to send? I said, sure. Sent it in. And that was the start. After 20 some odd years, that was the start. Anyway, take care and thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. As you can see, I do have my own art way of doing things. A lot of people like to do very well-rounded and characters with depth. I'm a graphic artist. I'll kind of like to draw flat characters. All right, but I'll get into the rounded characters. Now, before I go, I would like to tell you that my best friend Gary and I are about to launch our second illustrated book, The Fairly Frightening Fair. Our first book was called 12 Angry Poodles. Our books for children are based on things that literally happened to us when we were children. So, here in the next couple of weeks, when you see this come out, I suggest you buy it because I'm going to tell you, Gary and I had a ridiculous childhood. I don't know how we lived through it, to be honest with you, but it is, in my view, hilarious because he loved going to the fair and riding rides, and he really loved taking me because I don't. So, The Fairly Frightening Fair coming out in a few weeks. If you haven't read it, 12 Angry Poodles from a couple of years ago when we got chased by 12 poodles in the middle of the night when we snuck out of the house. Scout's honor, man. Well, I wasn't a scout. And to heaven. It really happened. Every book you see of Gary and Gabe is based in reality. So, anyway, take care. It's crazy out there, and I can't wait to see you again. Please go ahead and subscribe and like. I hate marketing stuff like that because it makes me feel like, am I really worth that? But for those of you that are watching, thank you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. All right.